Hi there, friends. I'm Rommel Anacan, and thank you for joining me again today. It's great to see you. I want to talk to you today about help. My employees don't respect me. Oh my goodness. If you are a leader, especially if you're a new leader, a new manager, a new supervisor, but this can happen from veteran managers and veteran leaders along with, rookie managers and leaders as well. It can happen to anyone in some kind of leadership capability. Right? But when the people that you are supposed to lead actually don't respect you, they don't follow you, what can you do? If this is you, I'm excited because I'm going to share some things with you that I think you'll find particularly helpful. And let me start by saying I have a lot of experience in employees not respecting me. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, especially my first my first management job where I was the boss, okay? Oh man, it was clear to me, at least for a year that most of the employees that I was leading just thought I was a moron, okay? And they followed me because they kind of had to. But then they oftentimes just ended up doing their own thing anyway, which of course didn't help me anything. It made me upset at them and angry and frustrated. It made them angry and frustrated that I was their manager and why wasn't one of them their manager? And it was just a disaster. Okay, so in my leadership programs, I talk about the idea that the foundation of all teams, right, all organizations, all families, all groups is safety and trust. And so oftentimes, if your employees don't respect you, if they're not listening to you, if they're not paying attention to you, they're just tuning you out, that what there probably is there's an issue somewhere in safety and trust. Okay? And let me break down safety and trust in a couple of key areas. Not the only areas that form safety and trust, but I think you'll find these helpful. Okay, so when I work with managers who are not being respected, when I help teams, when I'm doing my leadership programs and they're running into the same problem, I find it's usually one of two areas. The first area is care. In other words, the employees don't think that the manager cares about them or the leader cares about them. Did you know that 70% of employees are disengaged at work? And that 70% of employees who voluntarily leave a job do so because of their boss. I mean, what these numbers tell us is that you as a boss, you as a leader, okay, have such a tremendous impact on the job satisfaction, on the results, on the production, on the morale of the team that you lead. Now, I know that might seem like an obvious statement, but I think it's one that bears repeating. And so what can you do to increase safety and trust? Is you can show your employees that you care about them as people, not just as an employee, not just as a number, but as people. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do that. Number one is just making human connections whenever you can. So here's how that works for me. When I was managing a team of people, what I tried to do was set aside a consistent amount of time, every week or every month or something to be able to connect with every one of my employees, or at the very least, every one of kind of my frontline employees. Now, you might be the head of an organization, with thousands of employees, well, you're not going to be able to meet with all of them, but you may have a cadre, right, a group of frontline people who report directly to you that you'll have the ability to impact and help. Okay, but how do you carve out time to do that? You take a look at your calendar. Yeah, and just say, hey, I'm going to go meet with this person for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be major. You just want to make a connection on a human level. And during that connection time, what you want to do is ask questions and then, listen. Not spend all of that time talking, not spend all of that time telling them, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you better change, but spending that time to listen and find out and learn a little bit more about those employees, about your employees, about what matters to them, about what's important to them. In other words, you got to hear their story. The other part of care that's so huge is that you care enough to give them the tools that they need to succeed. Okay, that you care enough that you are giving them what they need to sell well or to fix things well or to, whatever tools that they need. And so oftentimes your employees, when they are not respecting you, they're not listening to you, they're not following you, it's because they just don't feel like you give a rip about them. If you've ever watched the movie Office Space, Peter in Office Space, classic example of someone who has just lost all interest because he thinks company doesn't care. So if your employees aren't following you, I would encourage you, pause right now and ask yourself, do they know that I care? And if you're not sure, great thing to do is have some individual meetings with people and ask them. Okay? The second component I find when employees or associates or team members do not respect or follow the leader, it's usually competence, the other C. See, they may really like you. Okay? So your people may actually think that you love them, that you would do anything for them. They may just not trust you because they might feel that you just don't know what you're doing, that you have no idea. See, for me, in that first job that I was telling you about where I was the boss and no one respected me, it's really because they didn't have an idea, didn't have a sense that I knew what I was doing. For a variety of different reasons, which I will chronicle in the book I'm currently writing, and we'll talk about in more videos as well. But what they questioned was not necessarily my caring, but they questioned my competence. They didn't think that I had the tools to be able to take our team where we needed to go. And so they felt like, well, they needed to do their own thing if they were going to make their money, if they were going to hit their sales quotas, because Rommel, that guy's a moron. We can't listen to him. So let me ask you this. If your employees aren't following you, if you find that they're not respecting you, do you know what you're doing? I mean, what is your level of competence? And quite frankly, if it's not where it needs to be, it's okay. Just be honest with yourself and then make a game plan to move forward and figuring out what do you need to do to bump up your competence level so that you can do the job that you're supposed to do. And if your competence level is actually where it's supposed to be and your employees don't know, then a good thing to do is ask yourself, what might you need to do to make sure that they do know, that you actually do know what you're doing and that you are worthy to be followed. Friends, thank you so much for watching this video today. If you want to know more about me, about my leadership programs, or how I can impact you, please visit my website at rommelanacan.com. And until next time, thanks for watching.